a different kind of natural obstacle: raw sewage. For his fifth labor, Hercules must take on a dirty job that symbolizes the foul side of human nature. He must clean out a massive complex of manure-filled stables.
Now this labor is different from the others because it involves menial labor in a way that Hercules hadn't really submitted to before. In the earlier labors, he has to slay beasts that are ravaging the countryside, and he's trying to protect human beings or to promote civilization. But in this one, it's simply a matter of cleaning dung out of a stable that hasn't been cleaned in many years. And he has one day to accomplish the task.
Hercules notices that these repulsive stables lie between two powerful rivers, and he gets an idea.
What he does is, using his great strength, he diverts two different rivers and have them flood into the stables and flush everything out.
One labor at a time, Hercules is making amends for killing his family. So far, he has proven himself greater than any obstacle that Hera and her puppet king, Eurystheus, have dreamed up. And with each struggle, he is only getting stronger. To the ancient Greeks, his success in the face of such overwhelming odds was an inspiring story. But could it have been more than just a story? Intriguing historical clues suggest Hercules was not a myth, but a real hero. Hercules is mythology's ultimate superhero. The combination of strength and suffering in the same character made him relatable to the people of the ancient world. They saw in Hercules a hero to be both pitied and admired, someone whose tragic story was connected to their own reality.
Myths reflect historical events that have long since been passed. So they are a kind of code and an ancient history that gets passed down from generation to generation. The stories of Hercules come together from people getting together in different cultures and sharing their own tales of local heroes that they know who overcome great difficulties. And as they share these stories, they start to realize, wait a minute, our strongman seems to be a little bit like your strongman. And then the traditions all weave together.
In ancient Greece, Hercules was the model for the ideal man. But did he actually exist?
It might be possible that behind each of these great Greek heroes there is some single historical figure, but history has frustrated all of our attempts to find and locate the actual persons.
Some versions of the Hercules myth say his family came from a Greek settlement called Tiryns. And ancient sources suggest it was once home to a real warrior who was renowned for his great strength and even thought to have a direct connection to the gods. This warrior, whose name is lost to history, served the ruler of a powerful kingdom called Mycenae. In the myth, Hercules also serves the king of Mycenae, his cousin Eurystheus, who assigns him the 12 labors. Is this coincidence or something more? Other clues about the man behind the myth can be found at one of Greece's most legendary sites. This is Olympia. In the year 776 BC, the first Olympic Games were held here.
There were hundreds of games around the Greek world, but the Olympics were the finest and the most prestigious. If you won at the Olympic Games, it was being elevated in a way amongst men, and it was as close as a mortal could get to the gods.
There are striking parallels between the challenges Hercules faced in his labors and those of the Games. Both were feats of strength and endurance that only the most disciplined athlete could achieve. But the connection between Hercules and the Olympics may run deeper.
Hercules reportedly founded the Olympic Games after one of his labors. So the labors are directly connected with the original foundation of the Games.
These are the remains of the stadium at Olympia. Its track measures 600 feet. According to the ancient Greeks, that's 600 of Hercules' own feet.
According to legend, Hercules himself paced out the stadion, which was 600 little steps, and it's 192.27 meters, so historians have deduced that Hercules' feet were actually 12.6 inches long.
That's a size 13 shoe. More traces of Hercules can also be seen in the main temple here. Reliefs salvaged from the exterior walls depict his 12 labors.
He was revered by all athletes, and one measured oneself up against Hercules. Well, it was very important to the Greeks never to surrender, so many athletes died rather than give up.
In the myth, it is this same perseverance that sustains Hercules.
Hercules' message is always one of keep going and you'll eventually succeed. No matter how tough things seem, success is possible.
In his sixth labor, Hercules must face a flock of ferocious man-eating birds who symbolize mankind's unreachable goals. He drives them off with his poisonous arrows and reaches an important milestone, the halfway mark in his 12 labors. But 6 more challenges still remain, and each one will only get tougher. His stepmother, Hera, will make sure of it.
As the labors go on, they become more and more extreme, and they make him go to further and further and more mystical places.
The next 3 labors will take Hercules beyond Greece for the first time and pit him against powerful foreign enemies. Stories like these resonated with the ancient Greeks in an age when they were anxious to expand their empire.
The Greeks, pressed by land hunger, are beginning to colonize as far out as the south of France, and they're sending colonies throughout the Mediterranean. And reports are coming back about various monsters or various things.
For his 7th labor, Hercules travels to the island nation of Crete to find and capture the prized bull of the king, Minos. The bull is a code for Crete's dominance over mainland Greece at the time when the myth was created.
In the late Bronze Age, Crete really was the most important power in that part of the Mediterranean. The places that in the classical period, like Athens and Sparta, which would have a lot of importance and would really become the most significant powers, really weren't anything very important at all. In fact, they had to pay tribute to Crete because it was the major power in the region.
In the myth, Hercules is about to change that. He tracks down King Minos's bull, wrestles it into submission, and sails it back home. No longer will Greece answer to Crete. 7 labors down. With his conquest of the Cretan bull, Hercules has won his war against nature. Now it will be man versus man.
In the earlier labors, Hercules was performing services that benefited mankind, ridding them of pests and beasts and these other various things. But at this point, we start to see a darker side of Hercules, and it maybe foreshadows things to come.
In his next set of labors, Hercules confronts 2 foreign rulers who pose a threat to Greece. First, he targets Diomedes, the tyrannical king of Bastonia. Diomedes has trained his horses to eat the flesh of his enemies. Hercules makes him their next meal. This labor sent a powerful message to the ancient Greeks that the evil you create will ultimately destroy you.
This is the first labor where Hercules actually kills someone. This is the pivotal moment for the first time that he's actually drawn human blood.
The killing spree continues in his next labor, when Hercules slays the Amazons, a ferocious tribe of female warriors, after stealing the belt of their leader, Hippolyta. With that, Hercules